What's going on, guys? AliX here again. Today's Saturday, April 11th. Hope everybody's having a good day. I think it's just over a month now with quarantine, with self-isolation. It's been a very, very unique and interesting experience, not just for myself personally, but for a lot of people all over the world. Today's video topic is going to be how to stay motivated during quarantine or self-isolation. What I've been noticing is that a lot of people are starting to have a problem in terms of being able to kind of stay motivated at home because they're basically locked up. And they don't have the same level of drive as they once used to when it comes to their health and fitness. They don't have access to full public gyms because they're closed. And a lot of people are just basically, they're kind of letting their fitness kind of go. And I've been getting a lot of questions, not just from my friends, but also some clients that I train, and they've been telling me that they've had a hard time staying motivated during these times. So today I want to basically make a video about addressing it. So when it comes to the idea of motivation is good and it's also bad at the same time. And the reason why it has this kind of positive and negative side to it is because motivation is one of those things that it's basically a feeling. So when we become motivated about something, we get these kind of good feelings of becoming very energetic and very positive about a certain outcome or a certain thing that we want to do. The problem is, though, is that motivation doesn't necessarily stay consistent as the days, weeks, and months go on. When it comes to kind of motivation, you don't want to rely on it. Now, motivation is one of those things that it's great when you experience it and you get excited about doing something. Today we're going to basically apply motivation primarily when it comes to your health and fitness and training, but these principles can also apply with pretty much anything else that you want to try to achieve in your life. The way how I go about motivation is that I welcome it, but I don't rely on it. And what I basically mean by that is that when I become motivated about training or about anything that I'm trying to achieve, but we'll stick to the topic of just kind of our health and fitness for today's video, but whenever I become motivated about anything, I definitely allow the feelings of becoming motivated and energetic about it to enter into my mind, but I don't entertain it for too long without doing anything about it. So if I just become motivated about something, let's say I want to get into really good shape, and I keep thinking about it, and I have these kind of good feelings about it. Well, the reality is that feeling is not going to last for very long. And that's why you have to basically bring in the idea of discipline into the equation now. Because motivation alone, it will definitely help you kind of get started, but it won't keep you going. So the idea here is that when it comes to our training is that we definitely want to feel motivated, but the reality is we're not going to be motivated all the time. And that's why coming up with a certain discipline and a certain schedule is how you can stay motivated to continue to basically make progress, whether you feel like it or you don't, because you know that that's the goal that you have in mind. So within this video, I'm going to basically share some tips that I personally use when it comes to basically staying consistent with my training and staying consistent with pretty much any type of goal that I have in my mind that I want to basically achieve. So now, and I have to kind of modify this a little bit because especially with the whole kind of quarantine situation, people are dealing with a bit of a different kind of circumstance now because they're basically locked up at home for the majority of the time, and they have all this extra time on their hands, and they don't have as many responsibilities as they once used to back in their regular life. So what I'm noticing with not just with me, but with a lot of people that are kind of following into this rut is that, number one, their sleep schedule is all over the place. You don't have a reason to be awake the next morning unless you're obviously working from home, but not having a reason to be up at a certain time the next day is very, very detrimental because you kind of let go of your kind of schedule when it comes to your sleeping. The first tip that I would basically give when it comes to basically staying motivated and staying consistent with a routine or a discipline is that you got to make sure that your sleep is on point. What I mean by that is that you set certain times throughout the day of when you go to bed and of when you basically wake up. For me, what I personally do is I try to go to bed around 10 p.m. to 10:30, and I try to wake up around 6 or 7 a.m. Now, that's obviously a lot easier said than done because, once we're at home, we like to kind of go online, watch Netflix, and, kind of spend the time away. But the problem is that starts impeding in our sleep schedule. And then when you start noticing is that for me personally, if I start waking up around 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 p.m., I feel like I've lost like half of the day, and I'm just not as inclined to go about being productive or trying to kind of get something accomplished. So I find that trying to keep my sleep schedule intact, regardless of what the circumstances, is very key. So again, try to keep your schedule intact when it comes to your sleeping. So try to go to bed at a certain time and try to wake up at a certain set time throughout the week. Okay, that's my first tip. The second tip is that basically you have to kind of find a designated area within your home or in your community that you can obviously kind of work out at or train at, that is going to be a place that you go to specifically just to work out. And the reason why I designated area to go specifically just to work out is because it's almost like I'm tricking my mind that the only reason I'm spending my time in a certain location is because I'm here to train my body. I'm not here to check my phone. I'm not here to do anything else but simply to train and stay focused. So finding a designated area where you can go and train and work out, and choosing that area, whether that be your room, whether it be your backyard, wherever it is, choosing a designated spot to train is very, very key. The third tip that I would basically advise is that, and I kind of talked about this in a previous video, which is basically your diet. Just because you don't have access to a regular gym, just because you don't have access to regular daily life, doesn't mean you just kind of start eating in a surplus of calories for no reason, just because you're sitting down all day. You gotta still keep your diet in check. You want to make sure your protein intake is high, and you want to make sure that you're not going too crazy with your calories. Otherwise, you will gain fat. I'm gonna make a separate video. It's purely just talking about dieting and how to gain muscle and how to lose fat and all that in another video. But that's my third thing. The third thing here is that you want to stay consistent with your diet. Do not get into a caloric surplus. The fourth tip that I would have, and this is for those people who can basically afford it, is that I would say start investing into minimal gym equipment. Buy resistance band, buy dumbbells, buy a pull-up bar that you can attach to your house, buy a barbell, whatever you can afford in terms of gym equipment. You'd be surprised how effective of a workout you can get with just using very, very minimal equipment. The way how I kind of go about motivation and staying consistent and stuff is that I don't rely on motivation. When it comes, I allow myself to get excited about it, but I don't dwell on it for too long. I have a goal in mind. I might be motivated today, I may not be motivated tomorrow. That's where discipline comes in, and that's where you have to have a routine to basically stay consistent. And the way how I make sure that I can consistently follow my routine is that I go to bed at a certain time and I wake up at a certain time. I basically choose a designated area within my house where I train consistently. I make sure that my diet is intact, that I'm not going overboard with my calories, so I'm not gaining fat. And the third thing is basically I'm buying some additional gym equipment. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just very minimal gym equipment that you could use to further enhance your workout, to add a little more diversity to what you can do. Let's say during this whole quarantine situation, hypothetically 3 or 4 months from now, we're still gonna be in quarantine. Imagine you right now training almost every single day, consistently hitting your workouts, consistently going to bed on time, recovering, consistently hitting your diet, consistently following a routine, a set plan to make sure that you're staying in shape, and if not, get in better shape. So then when everything kind of clears up and we all go back to our normal life, you're going to be at a certain standard that's going to be above a lot of people. People are going to be just getting started again with their fitness. But if you stay consistent now and you start training as much as you can now with whatever that you have at your disposal, when you go back to your regular life and you have access to regular gyms, your level of fitness is going to be at a certain level where it's going to be so much more easier to maintain and continue to get better and better. You know what I mean? So again, you have these two options. Either you don't do anything and you kind of let your fitness kind of go out the window. So then when everything goes back to normal, it's going to be so much more harder to get into shape when you've been a slob for the last 3 or 4 months. That's why I'm really harping on this idea, guys. Try to work out as much as you can with whatever you have, wherever you are. Right now, I can work out at my home because I have a few gym equipment like dumbbells, resistance bands, and a pull-up bar. To me, that's more than enough to stay in shape and actually get in better shape. As long as I'm staying consistent, as long as I'm hitting my diet, as long as I'm recovering well, which is basically sleeping well and basically kind of managing my stress levels. So the idea of motivation is that it's good, but you do not want to rely on it. And that's where the idea of having a discipline and a routine that's set in stone that you follow, whether you feel like it or you don't, is absolutely crucial. And I'm going to give you a bit of a tip, guys. What I found is that whenever I'm trying to develop a new routine or a new kind of way of getting to somewhere, the first 2 to 3 weeks is always the hardest part. It's the hardest hurdle to get over. But once you pass that 3-week mark of staying consistent and constantly trying to get better at whatever you're trying to do, it's like your mind almost wraps its head around the ability of being able to do this without having too much of a difficulty. That's basically it for the intro for this video. I'm going to be doing a lower body workout with some additional upper body training as well. And we're also going to be combining some fat burning elements within this workout all together in one to make it an effective workout. So let's get into the workout, guys. Guys, that's the end of our workout today. We got to work on a little bit of muscle building and also some cardiovascular training. So we're able to kind of do some cardio, burn some fat, while also build some muscle in today's workout. So it was pretty tough. The last few sets, definitely my cardio was starting to get tested. So, but overall, I always find that after I get through a tough workout, especially if it challenges me in terms of my cardio, I always feel amazing after it. But there is one thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, and this is the idea of momentum. Momentum is kind of like motivation, where it has a positive and a negative. But the thing with momentum is that you have two directions. Either you gain positive momentum towards the things that you want to get and you want to achieve, or you gain negative momentum and you basically get further and further away from your goal. So what I basically mean by that is, I find that if I'm trying to pick up a new habit or pick up a new kind of routine that I'm trying to do, whether it be with my fitness or whatever other area of my life, I find that the more that I work away at it, the more momentum I build. And what I mean by that is that over time, as I consistently work towards something, it becomes less of a conscious effort for me to actually do the thing. It's almost like you take something that requires a lot of conscious effort, and then you just basically put it onto autopilot. So, for example, when I first started working out, I had the amount of conscious effort that I had to put into basically just showing up to the gym and getting in my sets and reps was insane. Like I would literally almost stress myself out, mentally speaking, just kind of trying to put all the pieces together. Over the years of staying consistent and just training, I put very little conscious effort in terms of actually showing up to the gym, doing my reps. It's like my training has become almost autopilot, right? I don't need to think about it too much. It's almost like it becomes intuitive, and the same idea applies here, guys. So momentum is one of those things that it can become a positive thing, or it can be a negative thing. And the thing is that it's almost like it's wherever you steer momentum, that's where it's gonna take you. So if you're gonna fall back into negative habits, negative routines, well, you're gonna get used to that, and it's gonna be harder to get yourself out of that. On the flip side, if you build momentum towards positive things that you're trying to do, like for example, trying to get in shape and stay in shape, over time, as long as you're staying consistent, it becomes less of a conscious effort to train, stay consistent, be on top of your diet, and all the rest that goes into basically, achieving your goals. Guys, I hope you guys liked the video today. Just a recap, we did a cardiovascular and muscle building workout. Again, it's near the end of the workout, I was getting pretty winded, but I pushed through it, and I feel amazing right after. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.